wait to see you. Got me waiting on my lead.
Alright, day 2 of pulling the engine out. Had to go get some longer bolts so I can put it on the engine stand. So just going to pull the clutch off and maybe the rear main and then chuck it on that. Oh, it's cracked. How did that even happen? Doesn't fit very tight. Just. You're going to try and get this as central as you can. It's always easier to go a little bit higher and then you can lift the stand onto it rather than trying to lift the motor up to meet the stand. Fuck, this thing is wide. If you look at the fan, the gap's different between most of them, so I just pick the biggest one to get my hand in. And you can also kind of move it with your hand too with the spanner. Now that divot there is to help the puller, so you don't want to take it right out. And find some really long bolts. Probably too long. Now this rocker cover bolts. Yeah, so the standard tensioner bolts into that hole. So when that's pushing against the belt, it's very close, and they do move a bit, obviously with the revs of the engine, so you would not want that touching that. So yeah, it's good that that's done. So you got to get top dead center when you put the motor back together anyway, but the benefit of doing it like this is you don't have to take the cams out to take the head off. So see these cutouts, that's so you can fit. I'm not actually sure if you can do it with head studs because you need to take a socket on there, but the standard one's an Allen key bolt, so you can fit an Allen key down there for sure. So that's pretty close to top dead center. Oh, someone's marked it here for me. Yeah, so that mark lines up with that. That's a factory mark actually. That's top dead center. That's top dead center. And where's the crank one? I'm assuming there'll be a mark somewhere that I can't see. But, oh yeah, there is. Yeah, so that's top dead center. There's a mark, kind of groove cut into the housing there. I don't know if you can see it, I might put the shadow on it. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a mark there that lines up with that. So that's the crank in the right spot. Cams are in the right spot. And that should be top dead center. Now I've got to try and see if I can fit a socket on them. I don't even know what size they are. Alright, so looks like you just stick an Allen key in there, wind it up till it's tension and tighten it up when you put them on. Obviously to loosen it off, you just loosen the nut and they slip. That's the timing belt off. It's always a good idea just to replace these whenever you got the motor apart, because it is a bit of a big job. Well, it's not a big job, but it's just nice to put it back together and not worry about it. Also the water pump, if it's not a near new water pump, obviously you've got to take the timing belt off to put the water pump on, so while you're here, if there's anything suspect and you're worried about pulling the motor down again, just chucking your water pump on there. This motor's meant to be pretty new, but I'll pull the water pump off and have a look at it. Oh, before I forget, there's always a little sneaky bolt on the RBs, but these little 10mm bolts at the back of the head there, they go through the head into the block, and you always get all this, well, if you haven't done it, get all the head studs out and you're like, why isn't it coming off? But that's why. Little M6 bolt. Alright, this is my longest one. Hopefully that works. If not, I might have to get sketchy with the rattle gun. There we go. I definitely don't want to swing this into my GDI headlights. There we go. Alright, so we do have a metal head gasket. It does have forged pistons. This is the messy part. One of these things, because usually only one thing leaks until you tip it right up, and then oil and everything comes all the way out, but it probably won't get it until it's past halfway. So I'll just let that drain for a bit. It works pretty well actually. Yep, there it is. Not too bad. I'm not sure which sump this is. It looks like one of the Lewis ones, which would be cool. Let's see how good it is once I get it off and see what baffles and shit are in it. Looks pretty well made though, nicely TIG welded and stuff. You want to try not to lever it heaps because you don't want to bend the seal obviously. Pick up when you lift it off. Oh, it does, yeah. No, it looks like a really good sump. It's got trapdoors in it. That's what you can hear there. Oh, there's bits of my bearing. I have to clean that out. I don't know if you can see that. But yeah, it's got good baffles and good trapdoors, so. Alright. That's good. It's got a... The rods look like they've definitely been balanced, which is good. You see the grind marks there, that's how they balance them. So they find the lightest one and then they pretty much match the heavy ones to the lightest one, but if it's been done properly they'll grind this side and the other side to keep the weight central in the rod, which I learnt from Drift Squid. But yeah, it's good to know that someone's actually gone to the trouble of balancing them. And there's ARP rod bolts. That's good. Makes me happy because I was a little bit skeptical. You never know when you're buying a second-hand built engine, but yeah, turns out it is. That's good. Now I really want to mark the pistons, and I'll leave the pistons on the rod if I can, because depending on who builds it, like they'll put I don't know how it works exactly, but I'm assuming like if there's two heavy rods, they'll put the heavy rods on the end to counteract each other, or maybe, I don't know, opposing on the stroke sort of thing. I don't know exactly how it works, but I don't want to fuck with it is what I'm saying. So the guy that ground these probably knew a lot more than I do, and I'll just keep it how he had it. Hopefully I can just replace the bearings and that's it. But yeah, you can see even that's a little piece of aluminium. It's gonna need a good wash, I think. Maybe I'll even get the block washed properly. It's not worth risking it. But yeah, overall I'm pretty happy about that. I wonder if the crank's been doweled. Oh, it has too. Oh, so it actually does look like it's been built pretty well, which is cool. So you can see that dowel there. When they're standard, they come with like a rivet, which ends up getting blown out. But that's just from them drilling into the oil cavity in the factory. But yeah, what a lot of people do is drill that out, clean it all out, and then tap a thread and put a, man, I got a mental blank, I can't think of the name of them little screws, but it's a grub screw, that's it. But yeah, they put that in there so no shit can come flying out, because there's a dirty stuff in there apparently. So that's been done. Not sure if there's no visible marks. Oh yeah, that's been drilled into heat. I don't know if that's a factory thing or aftermarket, but it's obviously been balanced at some point in its life. That looks like it's been linished too, so maybe that was part of it. So hopefully the balancer guy knew what he was doing and it's all good. But yeah, I'm happy with that. It's one good thing. Now I might actually pack it up because I'm running out of memory on my memory cards. But yeah, that's a good outcome. I'm happy with that. It's got aftermarket rods, forged pistons. Looks like it's been balanced relatively well. Oh, the H-beams too. Nice. I don't know what rods they are. I'll be interested to get them out, but I might leave that for a later date. See how much damage is on the crank and the rod.